Hello everybody, welcome back to the Commonwealth cabin. Welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. It's a little chilly outside, so I didn't do my typical Mr. Rogers walk up out here. But I've got a great top. Well, I don't know if it's great. I love the topic. It's going to be fun for me. It may not be fun for you. But I've got some messages. Every once in a while, when I pick out topics for this show, you know, we're obviously picking stuff. And I've got a bunch to pick today. And some really, really good sales. I'm excited because... well, a lot of reasons. One, I love this time of year. I love being down here and working, and all that work we've been putting in has been paying off, and I'm excited about that with some really, really great sales. I can't wait to share them with you. But then I screenshot these comments that I get, and I've done Goodwill videos in the past, and people, almost every time I do one, they'll talk about a Goodwill boycott. And then I got a few more not too long after that, talking about, you know, piggybacking on those comments saying, hey, what about eBay? You know, what are our biggest grievances? We should boycott eBay for a week or a month or whatever. And then the old history teacher comes out in me and I'm like, would this be effective? Would it work? Would it accomplish the goals that X has or Y has or whoever has out there? And I think, I don't know, if you've been watching me a while, you might be surprised by some of my answers to these questions. You may not. But either way, we got some great sales. Let's take a look. So I guess we'll talk about the Goodwill one first. I think I have different answers for both of them. And this is all just talk, obviously. But I just think it's an interesting topic because I hear it come up over and over again. And I actually think one of these things could be fairly effective for resellers. For the most part, however, and if you listen to me long enough, you probably suspect this, I think that it's not that effective. But I'm going to bring my old history teacher style into this. I got to find these boots. Matter of fact, this is actually a good topic right here. Let's get into the Goodwill part of it. But we have had some great sales days lately. We had a couple of $800 days, followed by almost $500 day, followed by a $1,200 day. I mean, there's some good, and that's a big portion of what's going out here today. These boots right here. Speaking of Goodwill, I did not get them from Goodwill, but I got them from a mom and pop thrift shop. Where did I get these from? Was it Alta Vista? These are Dan Post boots, and they are Python, and they were in pretty good shape. And I went into this thrift store down there. I believe it's for like a volunteer fire department. And, you know, hey, I'm a thrifter. I was going to garage sales that day, actually, and we're running out of sales, and I was running out of time because I had to get down to Turner's Tournament. I'm like, I'm going to just stop in here for a minute because a buddy of mine was coming up to meet me, and I'm like, I got 10 minutes to burn. And I went in there, and I'm like, you know, okay, these prices are a little bit better than Goodwill's. I kind of get frustrated going to the Goodwill here now because I used to go in there and pull a cart in there and just fill that thing up and bring it home with stuff that you could resell and make money. Now I go in there for 20 minutes and I might come out with one item, 2 items max. And so it's definitely a lot harder. And that's part of the conversation today, which we'll get to after this sale right here. These, I think they were $25, somewhere around there. That video's coming out really soon. It's been a couple weeks ago at this point. And I was like, well, I can make money on these. I didn't see exact comps, but I saw close ones and looked at condition. I'm like, these are probably $100 boots. And when I went up to check out, they gave me a discount on them. I'm like, okay. I didn't even quite know why. I guess maybe it's discount day or something. I don't know. I ended up paying like $17 for them or something right around there. And I'm like, that's pretty good. I'll definitely come back into this thrift store again. And they sold for $99 plus shipping. So whenever I talk about the Goodwill, you know, I try not to say everything because I don't want to be critical of a company that's trying to do the best thing for their business. Now, you might not call them a company. They're a nonprofit. It's actually part of this argument here. They have an advantage in many different ways, but one of those ways is labor and the way that they actually get grants for their labor and who they're employing and all that. I don't want to get into all that today. I imagine you can down below. But the whole idea behind the people that say, hey, we should just stop going in there. I would actually say this, and not a boycott, but I pretty much don't go in there anymore. And there's a lot of people like me. But there's a lot of pockets around this country, and I realize this, so don't yell at me, that the Goodwill isn't the same everywhere. But their model has definitely changed. And this is why I don't think a boycott of Goodwill would be extremely effective, because they've already changed their model to bypass most resellers in their stores. Not completely, but in a lot of their stores they have. They have not done that in the bins, and they've moved to different locations. They've bought up properties because the other pressure is the pressure of a lease has gone way, way up. The cost of having property and being able to sell out of a retail store, brick and mortar, is really, really high. And I think that is one reason why boycotting Goodwill wouldn't necessarily be very effective. So that's part of my answer to all the folks who always leave that comment, is that we're kind of already doing it. And they don't seem to mind that much. And the reason is because they have changed their model, which I've talked about before. But they're not depending on sales from us in their retail stores nearly as much as they used to. I actually got ahead of myself a little bit. You know, I like to give context because I'm a history teacher, and there'll be a lot of people who've already typed this in down below: boycotts never work. And while that is partly true, there certainly have been some major ones in history that have worked incredibly well. And since I'm a history teacher, if you know much about the Salt March and the Quit India movement, you could argue, especially the Salt March is a boycott that definitely worked. The Quit India movement certainly is different, but worked kind of. And then you got other stuff as well. The Montgomery bus boycott kind of comes to mind. Now, these are obviously very different things than what we're talking about, but I love talking about this stuff. So here are some jelly jars, some peanuts, jelly jars. I can't remember what I paid, but I remember when I bought them, I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that. But I think I paid $10 for them, and it was because I was trying to work a bigger deal with something else they had, so I paid full price for something. And so 10 into $25. Well, just jelly jars. Some of them aren't too bad, y'all. And these sold for $25 plus shipping. Not something I really want to do, 10 into 25, but I was able to secure the other deal. By the way, on a side note, the Quit India movement, if you love history and don't know what that is, and the speech that Gandhi gives during that, it is brilliant. And of course, it is the same method that MLK uses in the United States. It's just interesting stuff. I know it doesn't all completely apply to what we're talking about here today, but it's just a little bit of a side note. As far as the folks who put that in there, boycott Goodwill, the whole idea is that if we stop buying from them, they will drop their prices. Here's why I don't think that's going to be effective with somebody like Goodwill. And I think it's, in some sense, most senses, a complete waste of time. Because they have, in essence, tried to bypass us for economic benefit. Perfectly their right, 100% their deal, no problem, whatever. It's disappointing to me. It's disappointing to a lot of people because I used to love going in there and finding deals, and they're just fewer and fewer to find. But like I said, it's their deal. And they have purposely done it in their creating of the bins process and the sorting and selling online. They've created processes that they think can make them more money. They've even, I've talked about this around here, they've reduced the rural stores. They've either cut the size of them or eliminated them altogether because they don't own those properties. And they've exchanged it because the boon of money that came in for them over the last decade or so, and built their own properties, bought their own properties, because those are the two things. They don't have much issue with labor. The issues that they have are with the cost of the brick and mortar structures. And so they've done that, built these palaces of Goodwill, reduced that they own, and then reduced the size of the rural ones, and send a lot of stuff to the bins to be sorted. That's sorted by me and you, because they don't have to pay labor. So they're in essence giving the labor cost to the bins buyer because they're doing the work. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And then what they're doing is through the sorting process before that occurs, or sometimes after, they're sorting towards recycling, making money on the back end. They're selling stuff, high-end stuff, before it ever hits the floor. It never does hit the floor. Online, all that's their prerogative. I'm just making the point in this argument here. I don't think it's going to do much good, because they don't need us as a buyer nearly as bad as they used to. They still need that bins buyer, though, and they have plenty of them, obviously. And since all of this is true, they've bypassed us. I think the wisest decision for us, if it's not working in our area anymore, is to just bypass them. And I've talked about that before. I won't get it at length in here, but it certainly has been better for me financially. And time-wise that I would spend in there, it's just not worth it. I still do it every once in a while for fun with my wife, but I'd much rather seek out these smaller thrift stores, which are very few and far between around here. But I have, because of that, I have found a few of them, and some of them, like this one, paid off. Check out this sale. I told you there's some awesome sales today. This is one of them. This Beetle set of plush here. Not in perfect condition, but still awesome. This one was listed for a couple of months, I believe. Pepper's back. And this sold for $225 plus shipping. So because of these things, I just don't think it's worth it. And I'm not even sure how you could organize such a thing. But one thing I can tell you, and I'm not advocating for this, but just in my thought process, is that really would hurt Goodwill. And I've talked about this before. I don't donate to them anymore. I donate to different mom and pops. Well, I wouldn't even say mom and pops. We donate to 2 different places. One of them is the Blessing Place, which we have a huge load, and I have not taken one down there in like 6 months. But that's one of them. You know, you find those places you want to donate to. That would hurt Goodwill. When Goodwill's donations go down, everything's going to be a problem. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not advocating for that. You know, you do you, whatever is convenient, whatever you want to support or whatever. But for me, I've just made the decision that I would rather those organizations that I love their missions get my stuff. So that is something that I think would be extremely effective, because no matter what model they have as far as selling goes, their model for collecting remains basically the same. Although they have changed that over the years a little bit as well. You don't see many of those remote bins anymore. But that's why they're still keeping, like, for instance, ours is literally half the size as it used to be. And it doesn't even have half the stuff in there that it used to have. It has, like, dollar store junk in there for the most part. Well, not the most part, but a large portion of it. But they keep that store open, and they don't put much on the shelves and on the racks. They put more on the racks than the shelves, but we don't even have an electronics section. You might find, like, every once in a blue moon, a little, like, clock radio, and that's all you'll see in there. So clearly, and you know people are donating that stuff. It just does not appear in there anymore, hardly anywhere. And, you know, you'll still find plush and textiles and stuff like that. But there's, you know, and racks full of clear glass and silverware and stuff. But it's really not much. They even took out the VHS section, for goodness sake. Which I guess they figure it's not profitable enough. But I used to, you know, have fun digging through that. So you might wonder, you know, those stores, I used to stand in line at those stores. There'd be like 6, 8 people in front of me. Now you can't even find anybody who's working the register half the time, and nobody's checking out. So what's the thought process? That place, in my opinion, stays open for a sorting facility mostly, and for a donation facility. Now here's another big sale. And this one, I don't know, I kind of screwed it up, but not really, and I'm happy with the screw up. This is a Coach bag. I bought it last year in Florida. And this one I paid $200 for. It's brand new with the tags, with the bag inside, with the paperwork. It is extremely nice. It's perfect. It's brand new. And I paid $200 for it. And I sat and waited, had lots of interest, but never got it sold until now. So here's what I mean by mistake. And then we're going to get to the Goodwill part of it here in a minute, because I see that all the time. I see it more and more, actually. And I actually think one part of it I think might be effective if done right, which might surprise some of you. But this thing was listed for $699. Now, I didn't ever expect to get $699. I was fishing for offers, and I probably sent out offers and all that. But when I put my 30% off sale on older items, I usually go through and click through and take stuff off, and I would have taken this one off, and I just flat missed it. And so it sold at 30% off for $489 and change, plus shipping. So I paid $200. So I'm making... Actually, you know what? Did I take an offer on that? Did it go for a little less than that? It sold for $465. So, I don't know. I'm still making a $200 profit on that. I'm very happy with that. I'm glad it's gone. It was taking up a lot of space. Perfect time to sell it. Somebody got a good deal on it. I would have liked to get in the high 500s for it. It's what I was really thinking I would get. So... I didn't get that, but I'm still happy. I'm still happy there's a $200 profit in this item, give or take a little bit, and I'm glad it's gone. You know, for a boycott to work, there has to be massive support for it, because, like I said, I think we're already boycotting the prices at Goodwill just out of self-preservation for the most part. The profit margins just aren't there like they used to, so we spend our time doing other things, and some of those things actually, whoops, actually are figuring out ways to get around it. And that's what I've been doing. I'm looking for a Dale hat. All right, I dug the Dale hat out of there. It's actually a pretty cool hat. Whenever you see that stitching going around the side and that embroidery, it's usually pretty good. This one's been sitting, I gotta kind of prop it up a little bit so it looks good when I ship it. It's in good condition. It's got a couple little issues right here. But I've sold hats lately, y'all. But I used to buy these hats for 99 cents at Goodwill. I used to go in there all the time and buy them their sports image. And while I don't expect all hats to necessarily stay the same price forever, I mean, just look at the inflation over the last few years. You know, everybody's affected by it. If the cost of the building goes up, I get it. Stuff's got to go up. Cost of labor goes up. You know, but they are getting their stuff for free, right? So don't expect Goodwill to give super cheap prices all the time forever and maintain it. But man, I go into some of these and it's like $5 for a hat. Now, I found a hat the other day for $2.99. It sold well, but it is definitely a lot more expensive. This one, I don't even remember where I got it from, to be honest with you, but it did sell, and it sold for $23.80 plus shipping. All right, let's turn our attention to eBay. Now look, this is just hypothetical. I'm not advocating for any of this. I just think it's interesting, and I never respond to people who always put that on here. So I guess that's what I'm doing today. So could a boycott or a strike by sellers be effective in accomplishing a particular goal? I think the answer could be yes if two things were in place. First of all, what's the goal, right? I don't know, you know, maybe if it's something simple and narrow, like something that most sellers could agree upon. And there's, you know, I bring up topics all the time about sellers, and we don't agree on all kinds of stuff, and we're never going to. The one I think that is most often agreed upon is that the seller support just isn't there in certain cases, and in solving cases, and in negative feedback or whatever. And the lack of communication, the lack of customer service for the seller. That could be something where you could get a vast majority of sellers to say, all right, here's the goal. Now, then could you also get a vast majority of sellers, or not even a vast majority, just a decent percentage, 25%, to agree to do something and to have it managed. I don't know that there's a platform, you know, I've got an audience on here, but it's nowhere near how many eBay sellers there are. It doesn't even, it's like a drop in the bucket. So is it possible? Yeah, just hypothetically here, if you get like 25% of the sellers to say, you know what, eBay really has got to clean up their act with giving us customer support on the seller side and taking care of problems that you just can't even communicate very well with them anymore when you're calling the numbers, or you're, you know, what used to be Facebook for, or eBay for business on Facebook, whatever. It's not as easy as it used to be. Although you can still do it on their eBay page. And just to get them, because I don't think eBay's just like completely ignores the seller side of it. They might not do as good a job as they should. I think we can all agree on that. But I don't think they're just completely blind to it, although some of you out there do. So maybe, you know, if you did something like, all right, we're not going to list anything for 5 weeks or for 4 weeks, a month. You're going to take everything down off the platform. You know, take it all down for a week or something like that. It might get their attention enough to say, you know, maybe we should throw a little bit more of our budget into the customer service part for the sellers. So yeah, I think it's possible it could do. I just think it's very, very hard to manage, to orchestrate, and to have a unified message for it. So my answer to both of these is it's unlikely. And in the case of Goodwill, it's almost pointless. I mean, let's face it, it's not Goodwill's job to make me money. It's my job. It's not eBay's job to make me money. Although those things go together a little bit more tight than, say, Goodwill does, right? In other words, you know, eBay doesn't make money unless their sellers are happy and making money. And so I do think, you know, we have the ability to vote with our pocketbooks, with our feet, to leave, to do whatever. And most of us choose not to, let's face it, because most of the sales are still over here. But there have been people that have, and there are effects. And I think you'll see those effects over the coming years on the strategy of not just eBay, but every selling platform. So I'm not discounting it altogether. Let me know what you think down below. Betsy Johnson. I picked these up at a sale. I think I paid $5 for them. I think that's right. Betsy Johnson shoes, brand new, in the package. These sold for $50 plus shipping. I mean, most free markets tend to move things in directions that make sense for both parties. Not always, but it tends to go that direction. I mean, there's stuff that I do, and there might be stuff that you do out there that, you know, you put your time and effort, and you put your money, and you put your attention into different places, and that's all part of the market. And they do move based on where markets are headed. But sometimes when you can't get that movement, then, you know, drastic times call for drastic measures. But it's not something that I would advocate for, I gotta be honest. But there are people out there who do. This is a Bose system I picked up in Roanoke. Had not a great day at yard sales, to be honest with you. And this was just the very last one I went to, so I was happy to grab it. And we can't see it, Pepper. We can't see it because of you. So this is a music to go package, and it sold for $125 plus shipping. I paid up a little bit. I can't remember what, 30 or something like that, 40 maybe. Actually, I just realized I pulled the wrong Bose system. It was this one that sold for $124.95 plus shipping. The other one actually just sold, but I'm not shipping it out today. I think we're almost already at $1,000 day, right? I mean, this is what, $600, almost $700 right there. Another 125, so it's 825, 875, 900, 1,000. Yeah, this is $1,025 worth of sales already, which is a really, really good day for us. And we've still got 11 more to go, including a Dibdit sale. And you might remember old Wicket from the Ewoks. This one doesn't have the vest. And what are you doing, Pepper? What are you doing over there? This one right here we put on deal today over on Dibdit. And it got bought with some other things too, actually. So who am I thinking? I don't have it written down. Got Blacklight and a tumbler. Got sold as well. So I got to look up that name. But all told, it was $32 plus shipping for all three of those things. And that one went out to Penny. Hey, I had that. Hey, I had that too. That's your name over there on Dibdit. Thank you. All right, just pulled this one out of there. Didn't want to subject you to me digging it out. But this is a Fisher-Price Adventure, people. I'll just show the picture up here so you can take a look at it. And that lot right there, I could have divided up a little bit better, to be honest with you, and probably made a little bit more money. But this gets a big chunk of it gone. There's like 4 lots that we sold. Sold a couple already and got a couple more. And this one sold for $35 plus shipping. So this is our biggest day of sales so far. And to be honest with you, this is 2 days of sales. We're shipping out, I don't know, close to $1,800 worth of stuff. But it is 2 days worth of sales. And that's them right there. But, you know, we do 3 videos a week, sometimes 4. So you got to take that into account. It's usually 2 days worth of sales. Sometimes 2.5, and sometimes 1.5. Just depends on the day. Nike Air Force One's another $5 buy, and these sold for $69.95 plus shipping. Here's a nice shirt that sold, and it's been a while. It's been listed for quite a while. I know that because it sold on 30% off, and it's still almost got $18. $17.46. Made in the USA, Winston Cup. 1992 Martinsville long sleeve XL vintage t-shirt, almost 18 bucks plus shipping. Yeah, I got a couple of puppies in here wanting treats. There you go. Oh, wait your turn. I didn't even make you sit. And then we're gonna pull one more and get Reagan in here. Y'all see Poncho? I love Poncho in here. You gonna go outside now? Sold these Dickies mechanic coveralls. They're not in the best of shape, but they sold for 20 bucks plus shipping. Haven't sold one of these in a month of Sundays. It's always iconic. People think it's Thanksgiving, but it's not. It's actually Christmas dinner. This is Freedom from Want. I've talked about it many times before, so I don't think I will. It comes from a Roosevelt deal, which I've got commentary on, but I'm not going to mention it today. And we were selling these for like $11, $10.99 plus shipping, and I bought hundreds of them, literally, not just this one, but 3 other prints similar to that one. And the Christmas one, the Santa one, and that, you know, when the kid finds it in the drawer and all that stuff, and we sell them. But this one on 30% off, I forgot it was even over there. I probably wouldn't have done it because it's a bit of a pain to ship these things. I use a record box. So I literally paid less than a dime for these. Pennies, actually, because there was tons of them. Pepper's getting in a box. No, we don't do that. Come on. Yeah, get out there. I don't mind Pepper, y'all, being up here, but I don't want her back there because she wants to, you know, I don't want people cat hair on stuff. So She's been good today, so I let her stay, but I shouldn't have trusted her. This is only going for $7 because it's on 30% off plus shipping. All right, y'all, Turner and Wallen have some Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
Why do pilgrims' pants always fall down?
Why do pilgrims' pants always fall down? I don't...
Because they wear their buckles on their hats.
They do wear their buckles on their hats. Thank you, bud.
Bye.
All right, next one, I don't even know where the heck it is. We used to have it. Well, I've sold many of these over the years. You probably remember I used to set these up here. Black & Decker Space Maker machines, coffee machines, the vintage style. And I've sold probably a dozen of them over the years. But I didn't even know we had one, and it sold, which is not necessarily good. It didn't even sell for a lot of money here, $31.50 plus shipping. So it's either up there somewhere or it's inside on the top shelf or upstairs in my attic. So I'm gonna have to look for it because I don't know where the heck it is. I would normally put it right there. I think it's cool decoration, those old box style Black & Decker coffee makers. But there it is. It's over $31.90 plus shipping on 30% off if I can find it. After we put these on discount to get them out of here, we sold this. Nope, there's one more back there. Youth size large Nike hoodie. And they are now selling for a little less than we were selling them before, but they're still getting decent money, 13 bucks plus shipping. Next one I've already sold before, which means it's come back. It was a return. And I sold this tested working because it was tested working, but when it got returned, I can't remember what they said. It was a slow, one of the things was moving slow inside of it, distortion or something, I can't remember. And I listened to it again and I kind of agreed with them. So I was like, you know what? Here's your refund and I'm going to sell it. And I'm still going to make profit with the return shipping and all of it because I paid so little for it. And it's still sold. This is a cool Walkman. If you ever see those old style Walkmans, they go for good money. I sold it for around 100, I believe. And this time it sold as is, 4 parts, not working, even though it is, for $54.95 plus shipping. And I sold, close your eyes if you got your kids watching, you might not want to see it here, Fangoria. And 1970, first in fright since 1979. That's not how old this is, but anyway, you get the point. This sold for $20, $19.95 plus shipping. All right, Reagan, once again, thank yous from CommonwealthPicker.com.
Curtis got a poncho ornament, and Peggy and Neil both got black lights.
That's right, and there they are. So get a stocking stuffer for your favorite reseller friend. All right, Pepper? At any rate, we are getting super low on these ornaments, y'all. So get them quick before they're gone.
Bye, and don't forget your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Sales are just cruising along right now, which is really cool. I'm very appreciative to all the viewers. There wasn't that many viewers, actually, in this bunch, but I just appreciate y'all, and I'm glad stuff's selling. We've been putting in the hard work. I'm hoping it's going that way for you as well. I know there's always mixed results out there, but we've been pushing hard for Q4 for a while now, and it's starting to pay off. These are really, really good days back to back. Matter of fact, there's 10 things that have sold since I started filming today. So that's good news as well. Oh, you know what? I got to mention this really quick. Christopher, we appreciate you. Ready Picker 1. You bought the 50/50 charity auction, so half that money, $140, is already on its way to, I don't remember who I did that one for. You know, I'll click on it and you'll see who it's to. This one is probably just Samaritan's Purse, maybe Red Cross. I don't think we did a St. Jude one or the Ronald McDonald House yet, but keep looking over there throughout all the way up until January 1st. We're going to be doing Q4 50/50 charity auctions, and you guys are amazing. But he picked up, I'll show you the picture because I don't have them all here, but Enema Man number 1, Enema Man number 2, we call him, ironically, since it's an enema, and number 3 as well, plus the Christmas ornament one. And boy, with all those, your eBay store ought to get moving pretty quick. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your generosity as well. Thank you. And I'm just going to sign off and tell everybody goodbye. Thank you for joining us. As always, leave your comments below. Take a minute and subscribe if you haven't, or go sub to our other channels, Garage Sale Nation, as well as Commonwealth Picker on YouTube. Hey, if you don't mind, if you're on X, give me a follow over there as well. I never put much effort into it, but I'm going to try to a little bit. So thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next.